They'll do a workaround.
They'll do a workaround, but at the same point, they're gonna have to retool. And the thing that was weird is
So retool, put a different release of software in the base of that thing, which will make the repeaters go further.
the issue too is the bases, right? So the tower has originally constructed was supposed to be a tower with pylons. That's great.
Chris, I thought I heard Tracy say we're good to go. All right. Call the February 24th, 2022 Board of Public Works and Safety to order. Are there any adjustments or announcements to the agenda, Chris?
Just one during the 5G section. The last item, item 14, is going to be moved up to be considered first for the 5G items for time considerations.
All right. Okay. If there's no others, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion.
Motion by Jeff, second by Scott. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Consent agenda approved. Moving on to our resolutions, we have a request to approve a drainage easement for the Slate at Fisher's District Development, Mecke.
Good morning. For the record, Hatem Meki, Assistant Director of Engineering for the City of Fishers. Before you is a drainage easement for the Slate at Fishers District. The Slate is a new development that's coming online on USA Parkway, just east and north of Forum Credit Union. As part of this development, there will be some road improvements on USA Parkway. And as a result of these road improvements, they are installing a new inlet just across the street from Forum Credit Union. And then from that inlet, they have an outlet pipe that outlets to the ditch on Sunbeam property. And to maintain that inlet, we requested an easement, a drainage easement from Sunbeam, and this is here before you for your approval.
Any questions for Mecke?
No.
Seeing none, I'll make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jeff. One question I had, Chris, this is off topic, but as we've taken on HSC utilities, does each easement that we get dedicated by a developer have to come before this board for a sewer easement or utility easement?
It just depends on how the dedication would occur. Sometimes it'll occur during the plating process, right? More than likely, and we'll take it on through there. If there's separately dedicated easements, then we'll handle those.
Okay. All right, so we have a motion and a second on the table. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Next is a request to approve, thank you, Mecke, professional services agreement with Mary Beth Smith and Associates. Sarah?
Hi, Sarah Sanquist, Director of Parks and Recreation. Before you is an agreement with Mary Beth Smith and Associates for consulting services with Spark Fishers Festival. We worked with Mary Beth Smith for a number of years now. They provide a lot of expertise and additional staffing.
Questions for Sarah?
No.
Seeing none, is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Jeff, second by Scott. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Sarah. Next is a request to approve construction agreement for Eller Run Lair Grant Bank Stabilization Project. Jason Armour.
Good morning, board members. For the record, Jason Armour, stormwater engineer for the city. Before you today, we have a request to approve a construction agreement with Davie Resources Group for the Eller Run Bank Stabilization Project. This project was initiated back in 2019 with between the HOA from Eller Trails and Councilman David George at the time. City staff subsequently applied for a lake and river enhancement grant through DNR and was approved. As a part of this project, the parcel owned by the HOA was transferred and accepted by the city last year. This will be the bank stabilization erosion control project for that. This is being funded 80% by the grant, with about $13,000 going to be paid for by the city. With that, I'm here to answer any questions that you might have. Thank you.
Great. Well, I appreciate the opportunity here to secure some more parkland while at the same time hopefully stabilizing the backyards of a number of neighbors in Eller Trails. Are there any questions, or excuse me, Eller Run? Any questions, Jeff?
Nope.
Seeing none, is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Jeff, second by Scott. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Motion approved. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you.
Is that construction this summer then?
Yes, we're going to start actually pretty soon, hopefully.
Okay. Great, thank you. Next is a request to approve professional services agreement with Mad Bomber for annual fireworks show. It's hard to say professional services and Mad Bomber in the same.
Sarah Sandquist, Director, Parks and Recreation. Before you is an agreement with Mad Bomber fireworks production for our fireworks shows planned for this year. We have a number of shows planned. We have one at Spark Fishers. We have 3 shows planned at 4th of July. Actually, those are the 4. 4 shows planned.
Any questions, Jeff?
No.
Seeing none, is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Jeff, second by Scott. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Sarah. Next is a request to approve Tyler Technology Munis financial software invoices. I don't believe we have anyone here for that. Chris, do you want
I
to
can
say anything on
attempt
that?
it. Yeah, so the board may recall back in 2017, we entered into a contract with Tyler Technology for our Munis software. This is just year 5 of the agreement. So each year they have an invoice that's sent to us for our approval in accordance with the original contract. So this is just the year 5 invoice for your approval.
Great. Any questions?
No.
Seeing none, is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Jeff, second by Scott. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next is a resolution declaring certain property as surplus. Chief Gephardt.
Chief Ed Gebhardt, Fishers Police Department. Major Mike Johnson, after 29 years of service to the community, is retiring. He's moving on to another endeavor that I think is going to be good for him, that he doesn't want publicized until that person announces that transition. But in light of this years of service, we'd like to surplus a Sig Sauer P229 duty handgun, serial number AM118755. It's customary for us to surplus the weapon if an officer served more than 20 years to our community.
Well, we wish Major Johnson all the best in his next endeavor. I'll go ahead and make a motion to surplus his service weapon. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jeff. All in favor, please say aye.
Thank you, Chief.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Chief. Next is a request to approve supplemental number 1 for Technology Drive Rehab. Jason.
Good morning, Jason Taylor, Director of Engineering. Before you is a request to approve the supplemental agreement with WSP. It is for the Technology Drive Services design. They had to go out and do additional survey and redesign due to some of the development that was occurring. It's a total of $8,557.
Questions for Jason? Seeing none, is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Jeff, second by Scott. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Jason. Next is a request to approve amendment number 1 concerning maintenance of landscaping.
Yeah, Jason Taylor, Director of Engineering. This is an agreement with NDOT that is a joint use maintenance agreement that allows us to be able to maintain the interchanges for the mowing, landscaping, anything that we would want to do inside of that, outside of their normal operations. We worked with the legal team with the city as well as with the NDOT's legal team to craft this such that it would to extend up to exit 210 for the Fisher side, so kind of the southeastern side of the interchange. There is an exhibit that is included in the agreement, I believe. If not, I can send that at a later date. Yep. But that's kind of a general agreement or exhibit, and if there were to be any specific items that we want to do with the landscaping, that would just go through their normal right-of-way permit process that we would submit. Nothing would need to come back to the board. Be happy to answer questions.
Any questions, Jeff?
Nope.
I appreciate the work that you did getting this agreement done. I certainly appreciate the work Public Works does to make our front door look as good as it does. I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Scott, second by Jeff. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Moving on to the NDOT agreement concerning installation of improvements. Jason.
Jason Taylor, Director of Engineering. This is one that I'm extremely happy to bring to the board. It's been a long time coming. We've been working with NDOT to change the right-in on 106th Street at Kincaid Drive to a right-in, right-out. As part of that agreement, there are certain improvements that will need to eventually be made prior to that right-out occurring. The agreement talks about 106th Street. We need to add a concrete median between the interchange and Lantern Road, as well as if there were to be the development High Line that actually has a Kincaid and Pearl Street specialized intersection that will need to be constructed. This agreement is just the agreement between us and NDOT stating what's being required. It is not a construction or design agreement. We'll bring those back to the board in the future when time is ready.
Great. Well, I appreciate your work on this. I know it's going to be the way they left that particular intersection is not the most advantageous for our community or the people that use it. So cleaning that up, I think, will be a win for everyone. Jeff, any questions for Jason at this time?
Nope.
Seeing none, I'll make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jeff. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. That concludes our typical logistical items for the board agenda. Now we'll move on to 5G cell towers. And I know we have some residents here, so I first and foremost want to thank you for your patience as we work through our agenda item. We tried to move quickly. That was 12 minutes. That's pretty good, right, Jeff?
That's good.
But we'll get right to the 5G cell towers. And I think, Chris, per your request, we're going to move to item 14 first and talk through that. Tammy is with our staff. She's going to present a summary of the conversations that have been had to date. And then we'll hear from our residents and the petitioner if it's needed. And then Jeff and I will take all those things under consideration as we contemplate the permit. So with that, I'll turn it over to Tammy.
Tammy Houston, City of Fishers Engineering Department. Before you is a one location within Sunblessed Farms. It is the area to the east of Lantern Road. There is an HOA for this particular area of Sunblessed. Verizon and city staff met with HOA representatives and residents back in December to talk about the three locations. Only one of them has been submitted officially for a permit. That is at 12550 Traverse Place. During the call with Verizon, residents on the call requested that Verizon take a look at kind of redoing the three locations within their neighborhood to see if they can reduce it to two, or if they could move around a little bit more. Verizon did take a look at that. They stated they were not able to move any of the locations to entrances or outside of the neighborhood, as it would affect their coverage objective. In the staff report, you can see some pictures taken by residents concerning based on the location of the proposed structure at 1255 Traverse Place. The HOA and residents are not in favor of the proposed location or in favor of 5G structures within the neighborhood as a whole. Verizon is here to answer any questions that you may have.
So just so I'm clear, Tammy, the 8918 and the 12475 are not being contemplated today? And not
They
been
are
filed
only
for?
proposed locations. They have not been submitted for a permit.
Okay, thank you. At this time, anyone that would like to speak on this, please step forward, state your name and address for the record.
Hi, I'm Cassie Wright, resident at 12554 Traverse Place, which will be across the proposed tower location. My front window will have a lovely view of the constructed 40-foot tower, which is aesthetically not appealing, nor what was originally mentioned at the beginning of this process. Moreover, a tower on the street will not only be an eyesore for my front window, but for other residents as well. Since we are a small neighborhood, we do not have towers or streetlights, and most of the houses are one story, as is the one the tower will be in front of. As brought up in the stakeholders meeting, there is a tower already constructed on 126th Street, less than 400 feet from this location, and within 1,000 feet of the next proposed location at 8918. Though we gave other suggestions at this meeting, Verizon was unable to find any other options available at this time. We are already an older neighborhood of Fishers with smaller land plots. We really don't need anything else up against us. Thank you for listening to me and the consideration.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Morning, everybody. Good to see you all again. My name is Jake Lawrence with the firm of Easement & Pugh. I actually represent the Sunblessed Farms Property Owner Association, who, as you can tell, oppose the installation of the planned structure, and accordingly, obviously, the waiver application submitted for the structures in question. First, I'm going to state that the planned placement of the structure, in their mind, would constitute a nuisance to the neighborhood, would interfere with the surrounding homeowners' constitutionally protected rights of quiet enjoyment, use, value, and habitability of their homes and properties. Specifically, the neighbors that are immediately surrounding the planned location would be negatively affected, as they would be forced to view the tower on a daily basis, would have the aesthetics of their property impacted in a negative light. The photos provided, as you can tell, and placed in the staff report show the planned tower would be an eyesore to the surrounding neighbors, direct sight line to the home across the street from the tower. Taking into consideration past decisions of this board, planned tower locations have been denied as a result of sight lines of the neighboring properties. The same situation, we believe, applies to the planned tower at this location. And as such, the association would hope that this board would be consistent with its decisions on these matters. In addition to the sightline issue, the majority of the homes are single-story ranch homes, so a 40-foot tower would be shocking to say the least if it were to be allowed to loom over the homes in Sunblessed Farms community, as it does not fit with the character of the neighborhood. The tower is not only an eyesore, but adverse to the tenets of the waiver procedure that Fishers put in place, and that they do not blend or camouflage into the aesthetics of the community as required by Section C2G of the waiver procedure. Further, there are concerns as to the transparency of Verizon's reasoning for the placement of this planned tower. Currently, there is a Zayo tower, which Ms. Wright discussed, at 8899 East 126th Street, which is located just north of this planned location. According to Verizon, the 5G towers needed to be, this is what was provided in the stakeholder meeting, they needed to be 1,000 feet apart, but the planned tower for this location is less than 1,000 feet from the already constructed tower on 126th, as well as less than 1,000 feet from the planned tower that obviously doesn't have a permit yet, that's just directly south. Based on the 1,000 feet that Verizon has itself claimed is needed between the towers, the location would be superfluous, and the tower on that map at the corner of Traverse Place and Tanner Drive, which is the one directly south that we're discussing, would be less than, again, 1,000 feet apart, but that is actually 1,000 feet apart from the 126th Street location. So this is obviously where the confusion's born and where it's believed that many of these issues with Verizon began, as the continuous claims that they're unable to meet coverage objectives, but then state that movement of coverage maps would be too extensive and be infeasible. It was great forethought of this board and the city of Fishers that decided to previously bring in experts to determine what, legal experts to determine what options the city would have as to this 5G rollout as it pertains to the newer state statute. And it was determined that the waiver process being put in place that would control the waiver process as to the planned towers. As such, the tower currently planned for this location violates the requirements of the waiver procedure and under the state statute, as well as federal precedent, of which I've personally made this board aware previously, which I believe, Chris, you can attest, I've sent those concerns in previously. This board can deny its planned placement, a decision that would not only be in line with the precedent, but also serves to protect the rights and property of the residents of Sunblessed Farms who would be negatively affected if this tower would be able to be erected in its currently planned location. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak? Good morning.
Good morning. Hi, my name is Kelsey Talbot. I'm at 12546 Traverse Place, directly across from the proposed site. And to me, that just, we moved in less than a year ago, and the first week we moved in, we found out about this. And it just, we've been putting all of our projects on hold. We don't want to sink all of our money and time into putting equity in our home that's not going to be there if it's going to be devalued by this. And so we just really ask that you please think about the neighborhood, and you know, it's very personal to us that, you know, this is our livelihood, our lives, that we want to make a home in Fishers because we love it here. But we're not going to feel safe and taken care of without having this. So, thank you.
Thank you for sharing. Anyone else that like to speak on this specific permit? Yes, sir.
Yes, good morning. My name is Greg Fredberg. I'm here as a board member representing the board. I'm on the Sunblessed Farms Homeowners Association board. I'm also an information technology director for state government. So I'm familiar with microwave, but I'm not a 5G expert. I'd like to make the points that I'm also a resident at 12560 Traverse Place, immediately across the street. So this will be right out, you know, you stand in my garage and you look at this thing. All of our other utilities and stuff are underground. That was one of the pleasing things about this community. Cassie stepped up and helped the Homeowners Association and convened this meeting with Verizon we were not against 5G. We were trying to recommend different locations. We have a decorative street light at our very entrance. We don't have street lights in the neighborhood, but at the two entrances to this Sunblessed Farm addition. And we said, we're even welcome for you to take one of our lights and use it, but put it at the entrance. Don't put it in people's front yards. We also offered up the pool area. We have a pool in our neighborhood, and we said, you know, you could stick one at the pool, not in people's front yards. And they said they would get back with us and try to do a redraw. We never heard another word. You know, they just basically ignored us. Now, I don't know 5G, but I know microwave and repeaters and signals and networks. And it usually comes down to money and software. So,
You sound like an IT director.
That's what I am, yeah.
No offense, Tracy.
That's usually what it comes down to. And I don't know the details of what they're putting in the base of this thing. I have not studied the 5G stuff, but I think we're getting the least expensive and the runaround. So I suggest we decline this permit. Thank you.
Thank you. Would the petitioner like to speak?
Mayor, you know lawyers always want to talk.
I know, I shouldn't have even asked.
For the record, Russell Brown, Clark Quinn, Moses Cotton Ground, 320 North Meridian Street, Suite 1100 in Indianapolis. As we've talked about before, we've had the conversation in front of you with Mr. Lawrence about the applicability of some of the federal precedent. I'm not going to re-argue the case today. We've presented all of that to Chris, and I believe he's given you good counsel on what you can and can't consider in these matters. As you'll notice today, in all of these petitions, Verizon has attempted to do a couple of things in these petitions. Show you sites that are subject for permit today, but also show you how the networks will build out in these neighborhoods going forward. I know that's been a desire and a request for you going forward, so I think they've tried to accommodate that request. As you know, through these many meetings, there are technology concerns and technology limitations to 5G technology. It does require consideration of travel. It does require consideration of the topography, of trees, of building structure and size. And so this is not as simple as, hey, we don't want it here, can you put it over there? And this is a neighborhood that does have unique street layouts. One at the entry would serve a few homes, but would not serve the majority of the homes in this neighborhood. As you understand and know, this technology does not work if you put it on the outside of a neighborhood and only try to shoot it in. You leave significant gaps. And that's why Verizon did, and I think Tammy's staff report provides, Verizon did go back and try to reconfigure reducing the number of sites in this neighborhood. And that does not provide the coverage objectives necessary. The staff report also does state that the neighbors want no 5G towers in their neighborhood, which we believe is an effective prohibition of the service. So I understand this is a neighborhood with some of these longer cul-de-sacs that presents challenges based on the aesthetic concerns the city has expressed. This is an attempt to live up to those expressed concerns. There are no published advanced guidance as permitted by state statute. There's nothing specific for this neighborhood, and we believe that denying this request would be an attempt to effectively deny service within this neighborhood in violation of state and federal law.
Thank you. There's no other comments at this point. We'll close the public comment portion of this discussion. Yes, sir, would you like to speak?
Hello, thanks for the record. Greg Francis, resident, 8935 Tanner Drive. I live in Sunblessed Farms. I also am a resident that lives up against the walkway path that was put in place. I also have a house that will be, if proposed goes, there will be a tower put across the street from my house. Aesthetically, that will be unpleasing to me. But also saying that I have not seen heat maps. I do know a little bit more about 5G technology and the millimeter waves and where they're putting the proposed placement of these towers is not going to penetrate into the neighborhood as I believe it will until I see the heat maps from the vendor, excuse me. So without that type of data, I don't think we would get the penetration in the neighborhood that the vendor is expecting. So also I have not seen is if the vendor is going to be putting any towers on the path or not in the future. So, which would actually be a preferable location to service more people because that is actually getting used a lot. So,
Thank you. One comment just briefly on the request for heat maps. I don't believe, and Chris, correct me if I'm wrong here, that that's a the vendor is required to provide that information. I think that would probably be viewed as proprietary. Is that fair? The legal counsel's nodding his head. So I only share that with you that to not set your hopes up for getting that information because my guess is they would view that as proprietary.
So rebuttal information to know about, there is a millimeter wave antenna that is downtown Indianapolis, and I have reviewed that with the job that I currently do and have seen that the point-to-point, the beaming technology from that, if you get off more than about 60 degrees from the antenna, there is a degradation of service. So.
Thank you. I'll go ahead and make a couple comments. Jeff, feel free to jump in here. This should come as no surprise. This board has been relatively consistent on where we would approve the placement of these towers and where we would not. I don't view that as an effective prohibition, but rather just general policy or guidelines in what we believe is a balance between what is in the interest of our community and the individual property rights of homeowners and that of a vendor trying to, I guess, further their business. I don't view 12550 as an appropriate location for a 5G cell tower. It's smack dab in the middle of what I can see as at least 4 homes that would be looking directly at the tower. So I'm not inclined to support this petition at this time. Jeff, feel free to share your thoughts or comments.
I think it's consistent with others that we've either tabled or rejected, and therefore I'm not in support of this location.
And just to be clear, I think moving forward as we deal with these, if we're not supportive of the location, there's really no point in tabling it because we're going to file a new permit if we move the tower. So I will make a motion to deny this permit. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Scott, second by Jeff. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Motion carries. So this permit is denied. That's not in consideration of 12475 or 8918 because those permits are not being submitted today. So anyone here concerned about those permits, they're not under consideration. I don't want you to walk away thinking those have been approved or denied. They're yet to be determined, but as of today, 12550 is denied. Moving on, we're going to go back to the item 10 on the agenda. Request to approve residential waivers to install small cell facilities in Sunblessed Area 1.
Tammy Houston, City of Fishers. Excuse me. Whenever we were looking at the Sunblessed area, we realized this was a little different animal. That Sunblessed does not have an HOA west of Lantern Road, south of 126th Street. So our communication was a little different. We sent out over 800 letters specifically to residents that included a link to sign up for a Zoom meeting at a particular time for these 5 different sections of Sunblessed. So before you, we've kind of split them up between 5 sections. There's one section area 4, you will see that there is no staff report for it. That area did not have any officially submitted permit locations. They were all just proposed locations. So Area 1 is on the northeast corner of Sunblest. There are 3 locations that have been submitted for a permit. All 3 of those locations are at intersections. 2 of the locations, 12499 Bentley Boulevard and 12526 Saxons Boulevard. There were no comments presented at the Zoom meeting, nor submitted to the City of Fishers prior to the meeting. 1243 Farley Drive, resident requested to see if it could be moved across the street to the park. Verizon stated that they would not be able to move it there.
Okay. Is there anyone here that would like to speak on any one of these permits? If so, feel free to step forward and just let us know which specific permit you want to comment on. Anything from the petitioner at this time? Okay. Is there a particular reason the 12430 couldn't be moved to the parkland? Is that an issue of right-of-way, or so?
The statement that I had received from Verizon was that they would not be able to move to the south as it would cause overlap with another small cell structure. I am not aware of another location in that area that it would overlap with. I don't know if council can provide.
Their structure or another structure?
They stayed their structure. I don't know if he has any additional information.
Good. Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't know that I view the difference between public right-of-way and parkland.
Let me look at my notes.
Yeah, sure.
You want to look at the other two while he's...
Yeah, we can look at the other 2. Jeff, you have comments on the other 2?
They're at intersections. I'm just concerned that they're, like if I'm looking at 12526, it's directly,
right.
I mean, it's at an intersection, which we've clearly is our preferred location. The proximity of those homes is not.
But if you were to move it to there,
yep,
that would be the ideal
yes,
location.
between 2 homes, not, yeah.
That's what my thought was on 12526, and then
same thing on
12499. Yeah, right there.
Yep.
So, Tammy, on 12499 and 12. Well, let's just stay on that map for a second here. What Jeff and I are referring to is right now that window of whoever lives here is smack dab in that tower. If you stick the tower in between these 2 homes, you have a straight shot down to who I think you're trying to get to anyways. And it doesn't affect anyone's view shed for the homes. So I guess, I don't know if that was considered a conflict, but it would seem to me sticking it here would be far better on both this one, and if Tracy were to scroll to 12526, or another one, it's the exact same scenario.
Yeah, looking quickly at the 12499, there are trees on the north side there, so that may affect their coverage. But we could definitely go back to Verizon on that.
Yeah, I would look at that, and then I would look at 12.5, again, the 12.5, whatever it is, 26.
Yeah, 12526.
It's the exact same scenario.
To move it to the opposite corner.
Well, not the opposite corner. Tracy, can you pull up 12526?
Page, yeah.
Yeah. It's the same scenario. If you stick it here, you have a straight shot down, but you're not in a window. You've got garage here, this window's here. You can stick it right here. That would be ideal.
Okay.
You good with that? And were you able to find anything on?
I can't, it does provide, sorry. It does provide in my notes that there's an overlap with an existing structure, but it's not one that I have information about in my packet, so I can't tell you where it is, and it doesn't appear to be one that's before you today. So with these requests, I don't have an RF engineer here with me today. My request would be that we table the entirety of this so we can address your
and I think,
request.
just know that I think from a city perspective, if we can shift that tower to the park and put a light on it, I think like from our perspective, that's a win. It gets it out of the residents' view shed, so if that's possible.
We'll make those requests.
Okay, great. Well, I will make a motion to table, item 10. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Scott, second by Jeff. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Moving on to item 11.
Tammy Houston, City of Fishers. Before you is our 3 locations within Sunblessed Area 2. This is the northwest corner of Sunblessed, between 126th and Allisonville. Again, there are 3 locations that were submitted for official permits. Of those 3 locations, the one at 115 Northwood Drive is replacing an existing streetlight. And then the other 2, there were no comments presented by residents on the Zoom call or prior to the City of Fishers.
So you said 115 was replacing
115 is replacing an existing streetlight.
I don't have a concern on 28, do you, Jeff?
No.
And then on 7702, it's close. First, I should ask, is there anyone here that would like to speak on any of these? What are your thoughts on 7702?
From a placement standpoint, it's the best location in terms of.
Anywhere on the street?
Yep. At least from this viewpoint.
Since you didn't get any comments, are you assuming there's no lights or anything? You're just gonna meet, like, how do you drive the aesthetics and how are you?
In conversations that we had with other sections of Sunblessed, they had requested black structures with lights on them.
Okay.
So if we continue that throughout the entire Sunblessed, they would have a light on it.
I think we need to be somewhat sensitive to that, because I could see here someone not wanting like at the intersection, I understand why you put a light, but I don't know that someone's gonna be real excited about having a light here. So I don't know if there's any follow-up we could try to do with the residents to say, hey, look, this permit was approved. Light, no light kind of scenario.
Yeah, we can try to reach out.
Because in these particular areas, I would just be more sensitive to putting lights on it. Considering there is no public comment, and frankly, to Jeff's point, it seems as though these lots are a little bit bigger and the view shed is probably somewhat manageable here. I could be okay with 7702.
Yep.
So I will make a motion to approve item 11, all 3 permits. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jeff. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Moving on to item 12. If you could follow up though, Tammy, on the lights for those folks.
Tammy Houston, City of Fishers. Before you are 2 locations within Sunblessed Area 3. This is kind of the western portion of Sunblessed. There are 2 locations that have been officially submitted for a permit. One at 7754 Kemble Court. One of the residents on the Zoom call requested that it be moved to the end of the cul-de-sac, if possible, to put it behind the homes. Verizon stated that they would not be able to put it behind the homes as it's not within right-of-way, and if they moved it to the end of the cul-de-sac, they would lose coverage to the east.
Is there anyone here that would like to speak on either one of these items? Seeing none, Jeff, any questions or concerns?
7754, it certainly seems like we could move to the entrance of the cul-de-sac or back across to the park again to go straight down that street, which gives them their you know, their standing request is a line of sight, and that gives them the line of sight.
I'm a no on 7809.
Yes, and that, yeah.
So your thought is to table the one and deny the other?
Yeah, I think getting back to where we were before with the section 1.
Yeah.
So yes, I guess we can deny 7754 because I don't like it.
In that location?
In that location, so.
So you want to make a motion to deny with encouragement to look at
the
parkland for
the entrance, yeah. So I'll make a motion to deny both with a note on 7754 to move to the entrance of the cul-de-sac, and across the street to the park.
I will second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 13.
Tammy Houston, City of Fishers. Before you are locations within Sunblessed Area 5. This is a larger area that has multiple, 6 actually, officially submitted locations. This is on the north side and south side of 116th Street, kind of the Country View area, and then the southeast corner of Sunblessed Farm, or Sunblessed.
Anyone here would like to speak on any of these 6
Yeah, there
permits?
were a couple of them that have
go
been
ahead.
revised to, per the Zoom call, to be revised to replace existing streetlights. Those are in the staff report. They're
So
shown on
when
the
you,
staff report.
like on 11-7-12, Tammy, where you go alternate?
The alternate one, that is replacing a streetlight at that
Okay.
location, at that intersection, and then
And-
also at 11511.
And Verizon acquiesced to that request?
Verizon
They were
is,
fine with it?
yes, Verizon
All right.
stated they
Let's
would
just
be able
take
to do
each
that.
one of these, because to talk about all 6 is a little bit difficult. So, I don't know, is it okay, Chris, to just make motions on each one, or?
Yeah, do you want to see if anyone's here to talk first?
Yes, but I'm just asking procedurally, is that okay?
Yeah.
Or do you want us to like just walk through them and then
Just
make one
walk through them,
motion?
and then we'll
Okay.
document it in motion in
Okay.
one.
All right, is there anyone here that would like to speak on any of these items? Yes, sir, come on up. Sorry for keeping you waiting.
No, not at all. Good morning. My name is Carter Garcia. I live at 7664 Madden Place. We had originally, myself and our neighbors, and I apologize, I'm not much of a public speaker, requested, we live in the cul-de-sac, we'd requested that it be moved to the end of the cul-de-sac, to the entrance, rather, to be able to support the bus stop there, because we'd be able to have a light there for the children when they're out there. For our sake, we're at the actual top right of that house there, correct?
So you're just to you're that home with that he's pointing at right now?
Correct, yes.
Okay, yep.
Right now, we have 6 south-facing windows. We have direct line of sight to essentially a water heater in the front yard. And in fact, all 4 of those houses that are in a square, if you kind of look at it, all of our driveways are on the outside, so all 4 of those houses have direct line of sight to this thing. One of the requests that we had made that we hadn't heard anything back from, whether it be Fishers or from Verizon, was just a simple request to move it approximately 93 feet to the west. In doing so would put basically the tower in direct line of sight of 3 garages instead of having all 4 of those houses have direct line of sight to it. Something as simple as that. Another, and this is purely probably a little bit of a selfish nature here, but where we are currently at, I feel that we would be disproportionately affected. In our backyard, I don't know if you can see it in the image there, we have AT&T fiber. We've got the drainage there. So we have a big grate in the backyard. We've got 2 gray boxes, 1 huge gray box. I'm not exactly sure who all the utilities they are for. I've got 4 inches of standing water in my backyard. I've got tank tracks from where the ditch witch came in when AT&T got fiber. That's been there for months. Having this here, since we bought the house in March of 2020, moved here to get closer to family from other things. I apologize for rambling. Since we've been here and the pandemic, we've had maybe 10 family members come and visit. We've had over, I want to say we counted on the cameras, 70 people walk through our yards to be able to work on these utilities, and they're just doing their job. Fully understand that. But I woke up one Saturday morning to people having coffee break on my deck.
Wow.
Things like that. So we would really appreciate if we can have this moved somewhere, whether it be a little bit more west or something of that
So,
nature.
sir, you said on 7660, you had asked two different options.
No, sir.
One was to move it down to the entrance of the cul-de-sac down to the main road. Is that where you said?
Is this?
So this is 7660.
Oh, okay. So yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You asked to move it down here?
Correct, sir. And again, one of the initial responses that we had heard was that there wouldn't be coverage for the end of the cul-de-sac, but you guys, we've sat and watched all of the videos from here, and there's been multiple of these that have been approved that not only go twice as far during the cul-de-sac, but also have a dog leg or also have a 90-degree bend, and it's apparently fine for those to get service.
Gotcha.
So I don't understand why this wouldn't, but again, I'm not.
Right. Thank you. Thank you for your comments. Anyone else would like to speak? Petitioner, anything you want to share?
I had not, on 7660, I was not aware of a request to move it to the west. The only other request that had been was to the end of the cul-de-sac.
Okay.
And I want to make sure I understand if the board was willing to consider, if the board was willing to consider the alternate location just provided, then I think I would need to, I need to go back to that. I think that would be okay, but I'm not the RF engineer on this one.
Jeff, have you looked at whether there's an actual location? I haven't been able to pull. So if you were to pull it to the entrance of the road.
This is there, so we're putting it, the request is there.
Is there a viable?
Yeah, I mean, you've got
right
there, either one of those homes, I mean, there's.
Yeah. So, petitioner, I think.
The north side of Madden Place.
We would likely table this one for you to evaluate that request to move it to the entrance.
Okay, I can ask about the entrance. I think I know the answer on the entrance is that doesn't meet the coverage objectives.
The entrance to the cul-de-sac, I think is what we're.
Entrance to the cul-de-sac.
I will ask.
Yeah, not the entrance to the neighborhood.
No.
But to be clear, and I want to be clear about this, absent some move like that, I would deny this permit in its location.
Understood.
So we can table or we can deny and then evaluate, either way.
I want to make sure, I just thought I heard the petitioner talk about perhaps flipping it so that it's between the driveway of their home and the adjacent home as an alternative. And then it would be three of the, so right where there.
I think that still hits that homeowner right there in the bottom left.
Yeah, I would be opposed, I understand that he might.
Okay, that was what I was trying to clarify, is if that was, because I had not heard that request, and that was not in the notes, and so.
I mean, and I think he even clarified to say, selfishly.
I understand.
But there's impacts on other homeowners, so from our perspective, the only request we would consider is if you moved it to the entrance of the cul-de-sac.
And that request was previously made, and the client has indicated
So then,
that
I think so we'll put a denial on 7660. And I'm just tracking these, Chris. I'm not making a motion yet, right? So let's go through the other items here. I got to keep track of.
There's just a few of them in Sunblest.
Okay. So you want to go in order here? First one up, 11/7/12.
So that location was discussed on the Zoom call. Alternate one is an existing street light. The residents on the call asked to move it to that location, and Verizon was okay with that.
I'm fine with 11-7-12.
Alternate or the?
The alternate.
The alternate.
Yeah. Now, to be consistent with our new process, do we need to file a new permit for that? Okay. So we would make that makes a motion for alternate 1. Okay. Move on to the next one, Tammy.
11511 Hartford Lane. There were no comments presented on the Zoom call or to staff from residents. City staff did ask on the call if they could be moved to the south. Alternate number 1 is an existing streetlight. Verizon stated that they would be able to relocate to that streetlight.
And I'm supportive of that. Are you, Jeff?
Sure.
Okay, let's keep moving. I'm supportive of 11563. I think that's a location that doesn't adversely impact
Agree.
homeowners. So that'd be an approve. Okay.
And that's an existing streetlight.
11467 is?
According to Tammy, that.
Which one was that?
11467, is that an existing streetlight?
Yes, it is replacing an existing streetlight.
Do you have any issues with that, Jeff?
Nope.
Okay. And then 77.
7724 Cambridge Drive. We did not receive any comments on that location, either on the Zoom call or to city staff.
I have a particular issue with that, do you, Jeff?
I'm good with that.
Okay. Is that, it's all of them, right?
Yes, that was all 6.
Okay. So Carrie, I'll try to track this. So,
So you would- just maybe simplicity, you would have a motion to approve with the exception of 7660.
well, what alternates? I mean, I don't know if we have to specify that or not.
Sure, go ahead.
So we have a motion to approve 7724, 11467, and 11563, as well as 11511's alternative number 1, 11712's alternative number 1, and a denial of 7660. Is everybody good on that? Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jeff. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Motion carries. So folks back there, just to clarify, your tower has been denied. Not to say that Verizon has the legal right at any time to come back and file another petition, but then you would be notified for a new process moving forward. Yep. Are there any additional items, Chris, or any adjustments? Okay, seeing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Motion by Jeff, second by Scott. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.